tonight will be 2 Nephi chapter 24. This is the last of the series of Isaiah chapters that are included in 2 Nephi. Okay? Nephi felt to put those in the record right in this place as an encouragement to his people, as we've been talking about, and so this is the last of those. So the next time, chapter 25, goes back to the regular narrative. Okay, so just so you're aware of that.
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, and bring them to their place, yea, from far unto the ends of the earth, and they shall return to their lands of promise. And the house of Israel shall possess them, and the land of the Lord shall be for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives, unto whom they were captives, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in that day, that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve.
In the first verse it says, the Lord will have mercy on Jacob or Israel, and set them in their own land. Okay, now where might that land be? Zion, right? Okay. All right, and, but the New Jerusalem would be the primary city in Zion. Okay, and yes, it's believed that they would be on this land. Okay, so it says that they would set them in their own land. Now, since the strangers shall be joined with them. Now who might the strangers be?
Gentiles who are also believers.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The Gentiles who are believers, they're ought to be part of that also. So that would be, it's calling them strangers just because it's basically not part of Israel. So, and so it says the people shall take them and bring them to their place, which, again, this should be, I'll say, familiar from the many chapters that we read about Zion, knowing that the Gentiles would be used to bring them into Zion. So this would be the people to bring them to their place. Right? And be their land of promise, and so let's say many prophecies that we've read about that, so reinforcing the things that God has in store for Israel, right? So I think that's pretty much what it is. And then so it's just saying the Lord will give them rest from their sorrow, their fears, and all the many trials that they've gone through over the years. Right? So it's what we are keeping Israel focused on is the time of Zion, even today. As we've said, as a church, a big part of our mission is to go to Israel, in particular the seed of Joseph, and to tell them about who they are and what God has planned for them.
And it shall come to pass in that day, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, How hath the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased? The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked, the scepters of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest, and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and also the cedars of Lebanon, saying, Since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us.
Verses 4 to 8 is a dual, I'll say a dual meaning passage. Right? That we can read this literally as it says there about the king of Babylon, and that Babylon would fall, and that the people would rejoice over this mighty nation being toppled, and they were an oppressor of many, and so that did happen. Okay, so that was a prophecy of that, right? But it's also believed that the king of Babylon, being kind of the king of the evil empire kind of thing, corresponds to somebody else. It would correspond really to the devil, right? That looking forward in prophecy to when the devil would be toppled and put in his place. Okay, and in particular, just read 3 verses in the book of Revelation, chapter 20. So this is a prophecy of John in the book of Revelation, at a time when Satan would be bound for 1,000 years. Right, it says that cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up there and put the seal on him, right, and that he would be bound for 1,000 years. So it's believed that this passage we're reading corresponds to that time also. Right, and when it says that now, it says, here we go, it says, He'll take the king of Babylon and say, How has the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. The Lord has broken the staff of the wicked. He who smote the people is now persecuted, and the whole earth is at rest, and they break forth into singing. Okay, so this is the time when there would be peace on earth at that time, right? This is during the time of the 1,000-year reign with Christ, that Satan is bound and cast into the bottomless pit. Right, so this is, again, it's all the same time frame that we're talking about, so that's why that's being brought in here.
Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Thy pomp is brought down to the grave. The noise of thy viols is not heard. The worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee.
Now it sounds to me like in 9 to 11 it's talking to somebody, all right? Because it's saying about thee and thy and so forth. So it's referring to somebody, and who is being spoken to?
I think Satan.
That's right. That would be it. Okay. Right. So that if you look at it from that perspective, all right. See, it says that now, it says, "Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming." All right, because it's been cast into the bottomless pit at that point. All right. So it sort of up the dead for thee, and okay, raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. Okay, all they to speak and say to thee, "Art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us?" Right? Now Satan's no more at that time the mighty one, but now he's been weakened because he's been bound and cast into the bottomless pit. Okay, so and in 11 that pomp was brought down to the grave. The noise that would be, that's viols is short for violins, by the way. The noise of the violins is not heard, and the worms spread over you and so forth. All right, so it's really almost, to me, almost like a taunting thing. So see, all these years you've been plaguing mankind, and now what's come of you, right? Because now God is victorious in the end, and so that's what we have to look forward to. Right? There would be a time when Satan would be defeated in that way.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? Art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit also upon the mounts of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High.
So now it's clear in these verses again who it's talking about, since it mentions Lucifer there, right? And now, as you read this, what was the main cause of Lucifer being who he was, or who he is, I should say? Pride. Okay. Right. So the main thing was pride. Right? And in particular, as you can see in, let's see, I guess 13 it was, says, "For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of congregation on the sides of the north. I'll sit above the heights of the clouds. I'll be like the Most High." Right? And that's who Satan wanted to be. He wanted to be, is either equal or higher than God himself, right? Because that was the pride problem. And so that's why he was cast out of heaven in the first place, because I guess we're aware he was an angel at the beginning, and so to the extent I guess angels can have faults, so then this is what happened, right? He was a prideful angel and wanted to exceed God, and so God cast him out, and Satan took 1/3 of the angels with him, right? Who became his demons basically. So again, I guess angels can have feelings or faults or allegiances that may not be the right ones, and so this is what happened.
Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee, and shall consider thee, and shall say, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, and made the world as a wilderness, and destroyed the cities thereof, and opened not the house of his prisoners?
This to me is more of the same, right? As you can see, it says that, again, speaking to Satan, it says, "Thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit." And then it says, "They that see thee shall look upon thee and consider and say, Is this the man that made the earth tremble, that shook up kingdoms?" And what happened to the mighty devil, right? Is this really the same one? Okay, that did all that and made the world a wilderness, destroyed cities and so forth, right? Because now you see someone who's bound and helpless, and it's just not what you would figure to be someone that would be that mighty and have that much power, which today he has lots of power, but at that time he would not.
All the kings of the nations, yea, all of them, lie in glory, every one of them in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and the remnant of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned.
this is also, directed at the same person, if you will, also to Satan. It says that, all the kings and all the people and whatever, at the end of their life, they get buried, right? They get a grave or they refer to a house, probably like a mausoleum. They involve something. They get buried, okay?
They get honored.
Right, they get honored in that. So that's what would happen with, I'll say with normal kings or anybody, right? But for Satan, he doesn't get that, right? This is now at the end of his time, right? He doesn't get a grave, doesn't get a house, doesn't get anything, right? He gets the bottomless pit. So that's really what it's saying there, is that he's not even getting what the people get when they leave the earth, right? The people get some kind of something, some kind of a house, grave, something, some kind of honor as they leave this earth. But Satan doesn't even get that. Okay, it says, "Thou, like in 20, thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou destroyed the land, slay the people, and so forth." All right, so this is, not only do you get cast in the bottomless pit, you don't even get even the same honor that the people get when they leave the earth.
Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquities of their fathers, and they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name, and remnant, and son, and nephew, saith the Lord. I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts.
To kind of, when Satan's cast into the bottomless pit, well, his followers now have nothing to lean upon, so that they would face a similar fate. And the book of Revelation says that those who are the followers of Satan will also be cast into the lake of fire and brimstone. So, that's what happens at the end, because by then you have to choose, or you'll have had to choose. So you either choose to get the mark of the beast, in which case you're aligned with Satan permanently, or you're with Christ permanently, right? So there's no waffling at that point. So when you see Satan cast in the bottom of the pit, you can't say, "Oh, gee, okay, I think I'll change my mind now and then switch sides." All right, it's too late then. All right, it's too late because you've made your choice then. So
The Lord of hosts hath sworn, saying, Surely as I have thought, so shall it come to pass, and as I have purposed, so shall it stand, that I will bring the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him under foot. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden depart from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all nations. For the Lord of hosts hath purposed, and who shall disannul? And his hand is stretched out, and who shall turn it back?
Yeah, what it's saying there in 27, it says, right, if God wants to do something, basically who's going to be against that? Who's going to turn that around? If God's going to, it's going to be this way, then it's going to be that way. Nobody's going to make it the opposite. Right? But so the back up here for 24 to 27. Now this is starting to transition back into being a dual meaning thing, right? So again, first of all, there were actual events that correspond to this. Right? When it talks about the Assyrians, that was a real country. That was again one of the powers of that time that was eventually brought down. So that this was prophecy for that. Right, and so what's described here is similar to what happened there, but then it can also correspond to Satan being brought down. So this is a dual purpose one. Now, when you look at what it's saying here, and let's see, where was it? 25 in particular. I think it was 25. It says that it would happen in. It says in what he's referring to is my land, and upon my mountains tread him underfoot. So it's almost like he's going to bring him. Well, first the Assyrians bring him into their land and beat them there, and then Satan, I almost feel like it's the same thing. You kind of draw him out, and he's going to be defeated on this earth, which is basically God's reclaiming it. This was my earth, and so this is where Satan's going to be bound and tossed into the bottomless pit.
In the year that King Ahaz died was this burden: Rejoice not thou, whole Palestina, because the rod of him that smote thee is broken. For out of the serpent's root shall come forth a cockatrice, and his fruit shall be a fiery flying serpent. And the firstborn of the poor shall feed, and the needy shall lie down in safety. And I will kill thy root with famine, and he shall slay thy remnant. Howl, O gate, cry, O city, thou whole Palestina art dissolved, for there shall come from the north a smoke, and none shall be alone in his appointed times. What shall then answer the messengers of the nations? That the Lord hath founded Zion, and the poor of his people shall trust in it.
Now, again, this being a prophecy that was primarily, I'll say, a real prophecy for around that time, because it's saying in the year that King Ahaz died, this was going to happen, which was around 720 AD was the time frame. Now, does anybody remember who King Ahaz was? Okay, he was the king of Judah at the time that we're talking about, right? So it says that in the year that he died is when this prophecy is going to take place. Yeah, Palestine is Israel today, right? That's right. There's Palestine and Israel. So yeah, it's the same thing. Okay, so it's speaking to Israel, and basically what it's saying here is that don't get too cocky, Israel, like for the short term there, right? That your enemy's going to be defeated, but you know what? There's more going to happen to you, in the short term here in the 700s that we're talking about, right? There's more that's going to happen. By the way, that's 720 AD, 720 BC, by the way.
I was
Right.
confused.
Yes, yeah, 720 BC. Okay, but there's more that's going to happen to you. There's going to be enemies coming from the north, and so so don't get too cocky just because you won this battle, because there's more that's coming. But then at the end of 32, it says what will be the final answer, that the Lord has found in Zion. The poor of His people shall trust in that. Right. So he's just telling them it's all right. It's not coming now, but you trust that it's coming later. So that's the final answer, if you will. But for now, you still need to do what's right, and you still need to understand that there's still consequences coming from your actions. And this is what you have to look forward to in the short term.